You're watching Lit Happens. I'm Danica Lorer, and this is your celebration of literary arts in Saskatchewan. Today, we have with us Danielle Altrogge. She's a spoken word artist here in Saskatoon, and she's really involved with Tonight It's Poetry. Danielle, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I've been a poet for as long as I can remember. I've just kind of always been writing words, and it must have been in 2011 or 2012, I discovered Tonight It's Poetry at Lydia's Pub. My cousin knew I loved words and brought me along to go check out the show, and so I've been hooked ever since. I've been involved organizationally, and then I started competing in poetry slams that next year, and it's given me some great opportunities. I've traveled across the country performing in different locations, and I've done a lot of competing and performing, and it's become a big part of who I am.
And one of the big things that you took part in the last year was the Canadian Festival of Spoken Word right here in Saskatoon. So tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so I was, through the course of tonight's poetry season, we have a series of poetry slams, and so through the end of the season, the top 5 poets in the city formed to become a slam team. So it's kind of like sports for wordy book nerds. So I love it, and we worked closely together for about 4 months in preparation. It happened in October, and then we competed at nationals representing Saskatoon, and I'm really pleased to say that we won. So we are national champions. I have a nice shiny little trophy sitting on my mantle in my office, which is kind of an odd thing to have been recognized for such a large national honor is really exceptional. It feels really great.
And it's highly competitive. Even making up the team is highly competitive. But the national competition, there are some incredible artists from all across the country.
Yeah, I think the thing that I like most about it is that you see what is being rewarded poetically by the audiences across the country, and how the makeup of the audience affects what is successful. I find that just to be such a fascinating thing, and the collaborative aspect of it. You're used to competing individually for the most part through these seasons, and then you get to come together and make team pieces and group poems and perform them collectively all together, and that is really rewarding and fun and challenging, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
And that's something different. You also write for the page, but there's something that's immediate as a spoken word artist. So do you find that you like one or the other better?
I think different stories make more sense in different mediums. Like I'm currently studying under the MFA in Writing program with Jeanette Lyons at the U of S, and so I'm being challenged a little bit more to put things on paper instead of strictly performative. There's some stories that just make more sense to me to speak out loud. They have a hard time staying on the page for me, and that's when I need to perform them and look at them in a more oral sense as opposed to something that's a bit more written. But I think that there's some stories that live better in different mediums, and so I enjoy playing with those different genres.
And what are your favorite themes to create about?
Oh, I love a good dirty poem. I really like talking about how people relate to each other. So you could almost call it a kind of character sketch, or taking a look at someone, almost a snapshot, and trying to describe them or your relationship to them in a piece. I think that there's a lot of great political topics to talk about. One that I've chosen to work with is women's rights and feminism. Like I'm very passionately involved in those movements, and that finds its way into my writing frequently.
So tell me a little bit more about Tonight It's Poetry. Where and when and why?
Tonight It's Poetry is a weekly performance series. It happens every Sunday night at the Woods Ale House. We start at 7:30 p.m. It's an open sign-up, so anyone can come and share their words in whatever capacity that is, whether that's storytelling or poetry or whatever. We have people of all kinds of genres coming out and sharing their stuff with us. We have poetry slams, those competitions I was talking about, on the last Sunday of every month, and people can qualify to then make the team in the way I did. Next year's Canadian Festival of Spoken Word is happening in Winnipeg, which is exciting. It's the first time they'll be hosting. And they were one of the original cities that was involved in the Word Olympics back in, I think it was 2005, was the first year we had Spoken Word Nationals. And it's their first time hosting, so that's really exciting. And yeah, Tonight's Poetry, we have website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us everywhere. Tip Saskatoon or tonightitspoetry.com. It's a really supportive community to share your words and to meet other people that also love saying poems and love hearing other people's poems. So it's a really supportive space.
So do you think that you could share just a few seconds or maybe a minute of special words with us right now?
Sure. I don't know how. Well, I'm just going to go into a piece that I call the docs. It's probably too long for you, but I'm sure that I can.
Just give us a little.
Exactly. When I get there, it's all dark air and crisp mornings. So much dust and resentment filling in the gaps of the empty docking bays. I have no idea what to do. A quiet shuffle toward the dispatch desk, waiting for the gruff-looking man to notice me. His name is Barry, and he's the manager of the night shift. It's 3 a.m., and I can tell from the deadness behind his gray-green eyes that I am a major inconvenience. You're going to shadow Jerry this morning, and he isn't going to like it, but he's the best I've got, and you'll learn the most from him, so Barry leaves me with Jerry. The only thing Jerry's able to comment on is the absence of my steel-toe boots. I have to make sure my feet don't get squished because toes, those don't grow back.
Thanks, Danielle.
That's
amazing. So tell me what's coming up in your future?
Well, right now I'm currently working on my MFA in writing at the University of Saskatchewan. It's an amazing program. It's a thesis-based program that lasts 2 years. So it's been quite a challenge for me to commit to one project that's bigger over a lot of time because I'm used to writing smaller pieces or poems. Last year I was able to put on a theater poetry hybrid project in collaboration with Thigh High Theater. I have my own kind of multidisciplinary collaborative company called Mud Collective or Multidisciplinary Collective. And so we put on a show called Our Four Walls that combines spoken word poetry and theater. And so I'm hoping to put on another show like that within the next year or so. I want to keep expanding how I write and what I do with it and different mediums of how to put it forward. So I want to play with adding a little bit more burlesque and music and other performative aspects like visual art and infusing that with spoken word so that more people can get involved.
And why do you think it's so important to bring these disciplines together? I
mean, we often kind of live in our one genre-based corner and I think there's so many talented people in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan and that we'll all be stronger if we're working together and collaborating with each other and sharing our art to make each other better. I mean, there's so many things I can learn from people in the theater community or the music community or the storytelling community that I wouldn't be able to learn if I was only spending my time focusing on spoken word or with other spoken word artists.
Thanks, Danielle. You can catch Danielle and other spoken word artists at the Woods Ale House every Sunday evening for Tonight It's Poetry, or check out tonightitspoetry.com. I'm Danica Lorer, and this is Lit Happens on Shaw TV Saskatoon. You can find other episodes on the website. Thanks for watching.